of that tax. What I will do as Secretary of State, that office has massive amount of information because all of the businesses have to do their filings there. What I'm going to do is take this as an opportunity to network with businesses. I'm a huge transparency, open gal. I believe sunshine is the best disinfectant. As county auditor, I was one of the first auditors in the state to put my real property record cards out on the net. That's going to be open for all to see. And then if you're a new business, I'm going to network some of the information that the Secretary of State's office has, so you can see if you need someone to do some processing for you. You can see other businesses in the area. Some may be new, just like yours is, with maybe the same amount of people. I'm also, as an educator, I'm going to listen to businesses, see what their needs and concerns are, and I'd like to offer them seminars. But again, that's where my past expertise is. I'm very comfortable educating. But I'm glad you asked it, because when I'm out talking to a lot of Ohioans, they just see it as the chief elections officer. And that's fine, because the Secretary of State touches your life that way. But if you're a business person, then you know how important that office is. And I'm used to dealing with constituents who call and say, call the Secretary of State's office, see the Auditor OBrien, because I'm stuck, my paperwork is stuck, and I made a call and got it through. It should not work like that. Move things, first come, first serve, and move things through. And that's what I'm used to doing as an administrator in the county audit, as an auditor. I'm used to being an administrator and standing behind my employees and getting good employees, so urging them on to do the best job they can for you. I don't see it as a politician. I see myself as a public servant working for you, not the other way around.
Okay, next question is for Seth. As the state auditor, when you find waste, fraud, or abuse in a state department, will you place your findings on your website, no matter who it might embarrass?
You bet. I guess since I get 2 minutes, I'll talk a little longer than that. So let me sing you a song. No. I think that's an important role for, I mean, when you hire an auditor of state, when you elect an auditor of state, you should be looking for somebody that has demonstrated the independence and objectivity that is necessary to really hold government accountable. And government includes Republicans and Democrats. And we all know, having lived through the Taft years and before that, and having now lived through the Strickland years, that waste, fraud, and abuse knows no political master. It impacts us all because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So while I'm excited about the prospects we have for conservatives taking back the governorship and the Ohio House, the best form, as Sandy said in the opening remarks, the best form of good government is for accountability. And that's what you're expecting, I think, from your auditor of state, is to be your eyes, your ears, specifically on state government, but also on local government. I will just tell you, I mean, most of you, if you're following the Auditor of State's office, know that I have no problem challenging my own party when I don't believe that they're doing what's right. And I've done that both at the council, at the state level, and now running for statewide office. I certainly have no problem challenging the Democrat Party either. And I think I proved that when Governor Strickland brought us a budget that was structurally in deficit, and that had in it something he called his evidence-based education plan that frankly decimated Ohio schools as it went through the House and the Senate. And I just had one question for him as a freshman rep, and that was, Governor, where's the evidence? And after repeated tries to get that evidence and repeated times being ignored, we finally took him to the House Supreme Court, and he paid me a dear compliment that I will remember forever. Matter of fact, I was on the way into Columbus one day, and I got a call from one of our staffers, and he said, "Hey Seth, you're going to love this." I said, "What's up, Chad?" He said, "The governor today on NPR radio has called you immature." I knew then we had him, because just a little bit later, the Ohio Supreme Court found in our favor, made him be open and transparent with the records. And just take a look at the record of my public service, and whether it's Republican or Democrat, you can bet that by God's grace, my priorities will be principle, people, and then party. And if there's fraud, waste, or abuse, that principle will dictate that be exposed.
Thank you. Next question is for Tim. Do you support transitioning state workers to 401ks to alleviate future pension obligations?
Seth, I thought I was the only person to go in there called names, so I feel like you're company tonight. Second, yeah, I certainly support anything we can do to streamline state government, to start working towards a more private model when it comes to how we're going to put together our pension plans. I support looking at also tax credits for tax savings, for healthcare savings accounts. I think the problem with the state of Ohio is that we operate too much like your traditional government behemoth instead of a competitive business model. And Skip talks about business. I've run 2 businesses. I just had the nightmare for the last 2 years of while being in the legislature and having my own bakery. I say nightmare because I love making the cookies. I love getting up in the morning and making bread. I hated filing the unemployment forms, the worker comp forms, the tax forms, the cap tax forms. I can't remember all the forms I filed. No matter what we did, we were harassed in the process. And so I understand firsthand how the government can make life miserable for small businesses. We need to convert the entire model towards a business creation model. We need to go to encouraging 401k plans. We need to take the Department of Development because at the end of the day, the true #1 priority in Ohio is jobs, jobs, and jobs. And to get there, we need to reduce the regulations, reduce the taxes, and encourage job creation. One of the things I want to work towards is to take the Department of Development, not have it as a bureaucracy of the state of Ohio, outsource it to private businesses, and give them a bonus for every job they actually bring to the state of Ohio. Because right now, it doesn't matter to the Department of Development if they create 1 job or no jobs or 10 jobs, they get paid the same. There's no incentive to move forward. So we should take the whole system and convert it as much as we can towards the business.
Mr. Franklin's running in Bedford County. He let us know he was going to be a little bit late. Sorry, Seth.
Steve, maybe we can address the same question we just addressed to Peter. Start diving right into it. You want to do that?
Or let him introduce himself first and then.
You get 2 minutes, everybody else already has had theirs, to basically introduce yourself to everyone. Dave back here is holding 2 cards. Yellow card means you're starting to run out of time. Red card means you're done.
Okay.
So you got 2 minutes.
My name is W. Benjamin Franklin. Yes, it is. I grew up in the city of Cleveland. I was raised by West Virginia parents. I grew up in the inner city. I'm a graduate of Lincoln West High School. I've also attended Baltimore Hills College, Cleveland State, and Tri-C. I returned to school in 2006, and I've just completed major work in history, minor studies in international studies, and education. I have a BA in speech and theater to go along with that, so I have a very broad education. Like I said, I grew up in the inner city. I live in Berea now. I've also lived in rural Texas. When I first got out of college, I worked white-collar jobs. I've also worked blue-collar jobs. I was a letter carrier for 13 years, so I've been inside a union shop. I was also a union steward in that shop. I spent 20 years in the local arts community, so I've seen the very liberal world, and right now I'm in the very nice conservative world. I sing in my choir at Grace Church in Middleburg Heights. And I currently live at the poverty level, and this is one of the results of going back to school, how much fun that can be. But I've also lived in middle-class Parma and working-class Cleveland. So I feel like a very multidimensional life, multidimensional education. I think you have to be multidimensional to represent the people. So here I am.
Mr. Franklin, your first question is, what would you do to fund or to take care of the unfunded liabilities for Social Security? How would you handle that?